If you're a heating and air conditioning technician or even a salesperson, how do you work through getting kicked out of a sales call, and why does it matter? This is a fantastic question. I'm Scott Sylvan Bell, coming to you live for HVAC Technician Sales Secrets on a perfect day to talk about sales and business and a fantastic day to talk about you. All right, so there are certain records that I hold in my life, and I can't think of anybody way more qualified than me to talk about being kicked out of sales calls. So I want to tell you a little bit about myself first to help you understand how I can guide you through this process. Early on in sales, I really struggled because I didn't know the questions to ask. I didn't have coaching. I didn't have training. And so I had to go out there and try to figure out how to work through objections and misunderstandings and problems on my own. And what this led to was a great frustration of mine. I would meet with buyers. They would, in my mind, play games, you know, the whole buyers are liars thing. And I was pretty aggressive. And so being aggressive and being that I would get frustrated with people, there would be a point where I would get kicked out of calls. And so, you know, I started keeping journals, I started keeping notes, and I started like, okay, what really is the issue here? Okay. And so I will let you know that as you take a look at what's going on, you got to figure out what led up to you being asked, get out of here, you filthy salesperson. And so let's talk about responsibilities. It could be you. It could be, I'm going to point to me like I'm the buyer. It could be the buyer, or it could be both of you. Okay. So if it's you, what's going on in your life? Are you under pressure? Do you got to close deals? You got to make some magic happen? Are you trying to race for a goal? Like those both ends of the rainbow, right? I'm trying to close a bunch of deals to get back into the gig, or I'm trying to close a bunch of deals so that I could be on top of the leaderboard. Okay, you got pressure on you either way. Or it could just be you meet with Mr. Smith, Mr. Jones, Mrs. Jones, and they don't want to play ball, right? They want you to deliver all the information. They want a whole bunch of options. They want, and like that can be frustrating. So at the end of the day, where salespeople screw up on this and it causes them a lot of issues is they accept responsibility for everything. They make it global and they're like, it's my responsibility, it's my fault. In all realities, listen, you're doing the right thing by saying who's responsible for what, but sometimes it's on the buyer and sometimes it's on the client. And you got to know that that's part of the gig, right? You're going to have a certain amount of the population that you don't get along with, that I don't get along with, and they're going to be like, deuces, peace out, Girl Scout, get out of my property. You're done. And sometimes they wanted that. Sometimes you just happen to be the whipping boy or the whipping girl that they're like, I'm going to take my frustration of my life out on you. Okay. So here's the thing. If you want to be better at sales, you want to be good at what you do, you should absolutely join my email publication. Go to this URL, type it into the browser, drop in your name, your email address, maybe your phone number. I'll give you the goods, not in the Facebook group, not in the YouTube channel. It's private coaching, private training, and occasionally I sell stuff. All right. So we got to talk about emotional escalation. Emotional escalation is this. I'm mad at you. You pump up a little bit. You're madder at me. I'm a little bit more madder at you. You pump up and you're a little bit more madder at me. And then I pump up and it's like, okay, so that's emotional escalation. And sometimes what happens is you may ask a question that just triggers the person. They may ask a question that triggers you. And so what ends up happening is you go back and forth. If nobody ever told you, hey, wait a minute, time out, take a deep breath, because like this is what's going on. And sometimes you're going to get the person who just comes to you and says, hey, you're going to give me everything that I want and that I need because I'm a buyer, and buyers, the customer is always right. Okay. So you really got to dig in and figure out what happened after the call. Like you want to do a deal autopsy. You want to sit down and say, okay, what am I responsible for? Because there's probably some things that you did. And what are they responsible for? Because there's things that they did. Okay. So the mistake is like, I'm going to accept 100% responsibility unless it is 100% your fault. You were having a bad day. You were taking stuff out on people, right? Like in that case, probably. But like really go through and do a deal autopsy and figure out like what led to this situation. What was going on? What caused me to not get along with the buyer? Were they the authoritative type, or they're gonna tell you what to do, right? I'm gonna tell you what to do. Was it the analytical person that asks a million why questions and wants details that nobody else cares about, the engineer type? Was it that the person didn't want to give you a budget, a commitment, or talk to you about their problems? Like, they just point and like, here, you're going to take care of my issue? Like, what led up to the deal? And so, like, the reason you want to go through all of this and really have a deep understanding of what caused the issues is so that the next time when it happens, the next time that you have an issue, the next time that you have a problem, it reduces the scope of you having this. So as a fair note, what ends up happening is if you get kicked out of one call, you're probably going to get kicked out of 2 or 3 more, right? Most people don't understand this. It happens in groups. It would be nice if it didn't happen, but move on from it. Instead of, the mistake is I got kicked out of a call. I need to back up off my sales process. I need to remove steps because it hurt a feeling. Like, that's a mistake. Sometimes people just do not like a sales process and they will kick you out. And if you're thinking, okay, it's me, and then you accept 100% responsibility for it, when it's not 100% your responsibility, then you end up going into a sales slump, okay? So here's the thing. It is a form of rejection. Here's the thing. Most people can't tell you what to do because they've never been kicked out of sales calls. I, at one point, was kicked out of more sales calls than all the other salespeople combined in Sacramento. I know the boundaries. I know the reasons. You got 1 of 3 things to do from here. Just 1 of 3. Find the subscribe button, click on it, and every time I send out a video, you'll get an update. 2, hit follow. 3, you know what you got to do. Share this video with a friend. We'll see you soon. Thanks for watching. Aloha and mahalo.